Hey guys, how's it
All
going?
right.
Night Owl here. Welcome back to my Hoot Crew. How are you? I hope you are all doing wonderful today. Today we are back with our Pipebomb podcast, our wrestling news and chat. Today I have a special guest with us, is White Devil Gaming. Down below us here, that is Jake. And then we've got my buddy Steve over here, who
Yo,
is my
the
partner with Austin.
egghead has
Um,
arrived.
that's right. And he is joining me and Austin on a new Mark World Order channel that we have on YouTube. It is strictly wrestling reactions and playing games that are due to wrestling, strictly wrestling. Okay, so today's news, we have sad news and good news, which I don't know. It seems like I said to Jason the other day, every time we post a video, we've got bad news to start off with. So we shall get to it. But this one kind of hit me harder than most passings in the wrestling world. Scott Hall, otherwise known as Razor Ramon, has passed away as of March 14th, 2022. He passed at the age of 63 due to complications during a surgery for a hip, for his hip. It was due to a blood clot that reached his brain, and they could not help him. Scott is survived by his son Cody and his daughter Cassidy Lee. He began his career in 1984, and then, sorry, where was I? And then came to WWE, which was WWF in May of 1992. He became Razor Ramon, the bad guy, with the machismo. He left WWE in 1996 to join the WCW and became a founder of the NWO with Hulk Hogan, Kevin Nash, and others. He left WCW in 2000 to return to WWE in 2002 and was also in ECW, New Japan Pro Wrestling, TNA Wrestling as well. And he was inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame in 2014 and again as a member of the NWO. He was a 4-time Intercontinental Championship, 2-time U.S. Heavyweight Championship, a 1-time WCW Television World Television Champion, 9-time WCW World Tag Team Champion, a 1-time TNA World Tag Team Champion, never won a World WWE title, but he was also a 1-time WWC Universal Heavyweight Champion. He was in the NWA or AWA, WWF, and WCW. I have made a short video that we are going to watch, and then we will talk about our memories of Scott Hall. And Steve has that ready to go.
You good?
Yep. Can I hear it?
That mustache, damn.
Yeah, I know, right?
I swear, it's just something in my eye. That's all it
Yep.
is.
Yep, that's it.
I'm not crying. You're crying.
I'm not crying. You're crying.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just said that.
Okay. So that was thank you for posting up for me, Steve. I remember watching Razor Ramon when he started his career, when he first came in and everything else, because I was born in the 70s. So I did get a chance to watch him grow and become who he was. His match against Stone Cold Steve Austin, his ladder match against Shawn Michaels, just the different matches that he did have really touched the hearts of a lot of people as well outside of the ring. And his two wives that he's also had, that he touched their lives as well. Jake, since you're our special guest tonight, what are your memories of Scott Hall?
It's crazy, actually. I always used to watch wrestling when I was younger. I never really got into it until I was like maybe 15. And when I did, I saw a match with NWO for the first time. And although I didn't really pay attention that much to Scott Hall at the time, I actually, after that match, I started watching him all the time. I was like, this guy is like the ultimate bad guy. I mean, he's the one heel that everyone would like, even if he's a heel, even if he's not a heel. And it was amazing.
Yeah.
But per se, I don't really have any specific memories. I mean, not any that come to mind currently, at least.
That's okay. Thank you. Yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah, he, like, when you see the way he was before and now and whatever, yeah, I do agree with you. It's hard unless you really knew his career. Steve, your memories.
Honestly, my biggest thing was, because remember, I'm 24, going 25, so I saw, like his going out on his career, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But one thing I remember from going through the archives is WrestleMania 10, his ladder match with Shawn Michaels, right?
Mm-hmm.
I believe, was that the first ever ladder match ever? I think that was.
Yep.
And wow, like a lot of people, like, this is one of those instances when you're in the ring with Shawn Michaels, everyone's like, okay, Shawn Michaels is going to carry this guy. No, this dude carried Shawn Michaels through that match, right? Like, it was just something that I never expected from that era, from '94, right? Because we see all the hardcore stuff, going early mid 2000s to the ECW era. That was hardcore. Like, that was a great match, and honestly, if it wasn't for how successful that match was, that might have been the only ladder match ever. So, like, shit, like, that was, I'm sorry for my language, but that's a match that you can go back watch 100 times and still learn something new. It's just that good.
Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm. He had a great career. He did have a lot of other issues, which we're not going to talk about because I do not want to soil the memory of him. He's just an amazing guy. He, like I said, he did a lot for people. He was there for others, including Hulk Hogan when he was going through a rough time as well. And, that's just the type of guy he was. And yeah, we all have our issues and our downfalls and stuff like that, but it's who we are coming out in the end, Jen, welcome in. I hope you're having a good day, sweetheart. And we all do too, but we wish the best to Scott, his children, and his family in their time of grieving. We wish them nothing but the best, and our condolences. Okay. So the next thing we're going to talk about is this whole Steve Austin thing. Now, I did some research and stuff like that, and I actually have a statement from Steve Austin. Yes, he is coming back and everything else. He is supposed to be appearing in on the show, the KO show with Kevin Owens, and it could turn physical. It could, whatever could happen. Somebody might get hurt and they might end up in a match later on. Yeah. But this is what Steve Austin had to say is this opportunity comes up Kevin Owens starts running me down and gets my attention. It was a thing where I kind of said, I'm never going to get in the ring again. But in this business, never say never. I said I would never get in, but prompted by the right person at the right time, things could happen. I wish he would have pissed me off a little sooner than he did to give me more time to prepare. Once you step into the ring, it's like stepping onto a football field. That's where the business happens. I'm doing this for me. I'm going out there to have a damn blast, and I'm going to have fun and wear these fists out on Owens. So that's his exact words. And I am really proud of him. And I mean, a lot of people are like, oh, don't come back. I was actually the same way. I was like, don't come back, Steve. You're too far gone. You've been gone, almost 30 years. I think his last appearance was WrestleMania 9, something like that. And it was like, or WrestleMania 10, one of the ones. But
no,
anyways,
it was late. Are you talking about WrestleMania appearances or actual appearances?
No, his actual last one. He left shortly
his last
after
match
WrestleMania.
was like WrestleMania. It was, I don't remember which one, but it was like 2000, I think 1 or 2002.
Yeah, I think it was 9 or 10 was one of them.
Well, 10 was in 94, so it was definitely like 15 around then, but still, it was, I think it was against The Rock.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, when he broke his neck.
Which was his last match, yeah.
Yeah, so for him to come back, I do agree. It's been a long time.
Stack of dimes, you call it neck.
Yeah. But I think that this could be fun to watch. I mean, what a good time. I think I might have waited until WrestleMania 40 for him to come back. That would have been cool, like an anniversary type one. But that's just me. I'm just, But Steve, what are your thoughts on it?
Let's see. Here's his last match, which is 19. Okay, that was a lot later than we thought. It was 2003. My thoughts on him coming back was, I get it. It's in where it's at in Texas, so I get the whole, and Owens is a stunner guy, so I see the thing, that whole situation. I just don't want him to, get too crazy. I want him, if they're just having a match or a show, have a great time, but I don't want them going too full blown on it, right? Like, I don't want to see Stone Cold breaking his neck again, especially now that he's older.
Yeah, exactly.
This dude's got some. I mean, he's extreme, right? He goes on his ATV and does great. I mean, I'm sure he can manage a few minutes with Owens, but I just need Owens to be more careful than what's his face did with Big E, which we'll get to that one.
Yeah, we'll get to that one later. Definitely got to talk about that.
Rich Holland.
Yeah. I think we got a bit of an echo on your end, Jake. I'm not too sure. But anyways,
I'll
Jake,
turn down the volume a bit then.
Okay, thank you. So what are your thoughts on Steve Austin coming back after all this time?
Yeah. So my that. I mean, okay, look, Stevie Papa, and I almost said Steve Harvey.
Oh no!
Steve Austin, right? He's a WWE. He's a Hall of. I still believe he could open a can of whoop ass at WrestleMania. He still has it in him. However, I also think, going off of what Steve said, I still think that he should also be very, very careful. Yes. I truly believe that I mean, yes, he's going in the ring, and yes, he's a legend, and yes, he probably still knows how to fight. But you also got to imagine that Kevin Owens is a younger competitor who has been doing this for quite a while as well. Not as long as Steve, but still. You got to imagine that, like, it could come with some really, really bad complications. I don't want one of these. That's the last thing anyone wants to see. And I mean, I think I'm excited for. I think I'm excited for him back. I'm looking for.
Yeah, that'd be great. I sent you a message in private chat there, Jake. So take a look at that if you want. Okay, yeah, and this is the thing. Like, he's got to be careful. You know that he's worn knee braces for pretty much his entire career, so he's got to be really careful. And yes, with the neck injury and everything else, you know, he might have the same issue. Like, you really have to be careful, especially with his age. He hasn't wrestled in how many years, you know. But I mean, we'll see how physical they let this get. It could be a cinematic match, so we'll have to see. But
Steve Austin's going to put on the knee braces.
Stomp a mud hole
in that ass.
Kevin Owens.
Kevin Owens' ass.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, well, I guess we'll have to wait next weekend, and we'll talk about WrestleMania more at the end. But next weekend is WrestleMania, so we'll have to wait and see for that. Also, in AEW, Joey Janelle has decided not to re-sign with AEW. He had a match with Eddie Kingston and kicked him a little bit too hard, breaking his orbital bone, and was deemed too dangerous for wrestling.
Ooh.
So this is what's happened. So he's decided not to resign. Now, what Joey will do from now on, I don't know, but I wish him nothing but the best. I know I say that all the time to everybody, but yeah, it's you know, I hope it he has a good career. Steve, your thoughts on that?
For Janela, honestly, there's a select crowd that will defend him to the moon. But honestly, I can't remember a single thing about Janela other than him feuding with Sonny Kiss.
Yeah.
He just wasn't very memorable. And the only thing I can remember other than that is him injuring Eddie Kingston, right? So I might get some heat for this, but I really don't. I mean, Joe Janela wasn't a big loss. So, honestly, cool guy, but I just don't think he was very good. You know, I don't think he was going to get out of dark ever.
No, I don't either. No. Jake had to go off a little bit there. I think he will probably come back. He was having a bit of internet trouble, so because he was stuttering and everything. So hopefully he'll come back. We'll see him back shortly. And maybe move to closer to the Wi-Fi. Might be a little bit easier for him. So I'm just gonna do something here. There we go. Sorry, I just had to do something there. All right. The next story we're going to talk about is Kenny Omega. Now, Kenny Omega had his match against Adam Page. It was a brutal match. We saw the whole thing. Adam Page won the title from him and everything else. It was like, I don't know. I was blown away. It was a great match. But the problem is he had to take time off due to a knee injury. Now, his return status is up in the air. We're not sure what's going to happen with that, whether he's going to come back or not right away, how long it's going to take. But he is in recovery from his knee surgery. He had arthroscopic knee surgery. The recovery will take about 10 weeks for that. Then he has to go for a sport hernia surgery, which will end at the end of March. Which that will take that long. That's when the surgery is, pardon me, which will take about 2 months of recovery time. And there are also other things that he's taking care of at the same time. There's no real time frame set for his return, but Kenny Omega has done great things for the company. And I really hope that, you know, his return is timed well according to his health. And like I said, you know, with the knee surgery and then the hernia surgery on top of that, Jake, what are you thinking about Kenny Omega's return?
Well, if I'll be completely honest, I don't mind if he returns or not. I feel like he's done a lot for the businesses that he's been part of. I mean, you hear the name AEW, you hear the name Kenny Omega, you think of Kenny Omega, you don't think of you can think of John Moxley and maybe Adam Cole, things like that nowadays, but to start the company, in my opinion, Kenny Omega was the main thing that was brought over. But in the same sense, it's not that I don't like Kenny Omega, but I feel like that he's done so much that he may not even need to return. I feel like it would benefit himself, maybe for risk of injury and for things along those lines, maybe not to return. But again, it's entirely up to him, and of course, I'm open to other opinions as well.
Yeah, exactly. No, I agree with you there, and I mean it's up to Kenny in the end. He does still have a contract with AEW, so what Tony Khan decides, and I know Tony Khan has been very supportive to the wrestlers that he hires. So I have no doubt that he will support Kenny no matter what he decides to do. Steve, what are you thinking?
Well, I do know that Kenny's taking some time off for that injury. He's riddled with injuries right now. He had vertigo all last year, and he still did everything he did.
Yeah.
So from the reports and from everything I've heard is that he is taking extended time off to take care of everything. And if he does come back, I mean, we got a Kenny Omega that is 100% coming back. If he is, like, that could be insane.
Yeah.
Because the amount of injuries he had during that Barbara death match, you wouldn't even know, right? Oh, yeah. So, dude's a trooper. He still thinks he's young, though, and the injuries will catch up, and they have. But when you think of, like, wrestling god, best wrestler in the world status, I mean, you're going to think of Kenny Omega at least somewhere in the top 3 there, right?
Yeah.
So he still feels like he's got some time. I think he can retire any time within the next couple of years or even now, like you were saying. But it's Kenny Omega, man. He's as stubborn as I am. He's not going to quit yet.
Yeah, he's not done. Stubborn.
Especially now that they've got Red Dragon and Adam Cole and Jay Lethal and all these people.
Yeah.
Like, they have so many people that they can do crazy, like, collaborations with. They've also got Switchblade there now, too.
Yeah.
Which he's got issues with.
That's nuts. Yeah.
Yeah, so... And Kenny was huge. His career is mainly known from New Japan.
Yep.
So all these people are going to start coming over from New Japan, and Kenny's just going to have 80,000 belts again. That's just what he does.
Yeah.
He's literally what Matt Cardona is now. That's what Kenny Omega started.
That's it.
So.
Yeah, no, I agree with you wholeheartedly. I mean, the guy's a huge, major reason why the women are doing what they're doing in AEW, because he's a huge supporter of them. He's really pushed to get the women as involved as they are in AEW. So I commend him for that. And that was one of his top things when he came to AEW. But he's also not a spring chicken anymore either. So, which sucks because he is, like you said, in the top 3 of tremendous wrestlers, Undertaker being one of those as well, But hopefully he'll be back. And like you said, if he comes back, we know Kenny, he will not come back until he's 100% and ready to go. He's going to be a beast, and he's going to be a force to be reckoned with. So, so I can't wait for that. Hopefully it's soon.
He's going to come back and take every title, even the women's titles, because that's how Kenny Omega is. So.
Yep. Well, especially if, what's that wrestler's name? The one that we don't really, what's it? One Vicky Guerrero manages. Oh, never mind. It's not important. All right. Anyway.
Okay. All right.
I really don't want to mention that. Yeah, you know what I mean.
Oh, Edge. Yeah, he's still in WWE.
Yeah.
That one. That guy.
No, but okay.
Oh,
Hi,
Dolph
Christina,
Ziggler, right? I forgot. Yeah.
Oh,
you're talking about Dolph Ziggler, right?
No,
we're talking about Dolph
Ziggler.
No. That's right. Yeah.
Sure.
NXT champion.
Yeah.
Oh, Shorty G before he lost his hair. Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. Hi, Christina. How are you? I hope you're having a great day, hon. Good to see you. Thank you so much for stopping in. All right. Well, this is the thing, right? We know that Kenny Omega is a huge force in wrestling. So, okay. So another thing, not bad news, but not good news either. We're doing great. Thank you. I am anyway. All right. Big E.
I'm fine. Thanks for asking.
Yeah. Big E suffered a neck injury a couple of weeks ago on SmackDown due to a suplex performed by Rich Holland. Unfortunately, when Big E landed, he kind of landed like this, and it pushed his neck into, deep in. He has suffered a fracture of the C1 and C6 vertebrae, but there is no displacement. So that's a good thing. He has all the feeling in his fingers and toes. He's up walking around and everything else. He will be back, but he's out indefinitely right now because we want to make sure, because neck injuries are the biggest issue in the wrestling world. They want to make sure he's back at 100%. So Steve, what are you thinking about all these things? Like, you saw, if you haven't looked at Twitter, go look at Big E's Twitter and WWE Twitter and stuff.
You can watch what he's saying, just don't watch what happened.
Yeah, don't watch what happened. It is gross what happened. It looked like it hurt like hell, and I feel for Big E. But Steve, go ahead.
You know what? I am not the biggest New Day fan, and I've made that vocal. But I am a fan of Big E, Xavier, and a fan of Kofi, right? Mm-hmm. This is the example of, life comes at you fast, right? Big E in the prime of his career just had the WWE title a few months ago.
Yeah.
Everything looking up, and then all of a sudden his career, from sounds of it, might not be over because of, I guess he got super lucky with, the actual overall injury.
Right.
But it could have ended like that. And at first, when I saw what happened, I thought it did.
Yeah.
Landed straight on his head from a belly to belly on the outside. Literally his head, there was a still shot, which I'm still not going to show you. It's awful.
No.
And if I'm saying it's awful, and you know me about, like, I can take things, that's how bad it is. It literally looked like half his head was inside of his body. Yeah, half his head was inside of his body. Like, that's disgusting. So, he's being positive about it. He's showing videos of him brushing his teeth and, just random stuff,
Yeah.
So it's good to see he didn't lose all of his feelings and all of his nerves, because that could have been an end of his career, because that's, I don't even think Edge's injury looked that bad, and Edge's career almost ended for, it was 10 years or whatever. So, and what's miraculous is he's a big guy. Not chunky, but just super muscular. He has that chunk in him, but it's all muscle fat. I am very relieved that he is still one, alive, but two, he could be back. People are thinking within a year. Like, that's. I know medical technology is a lot better right now, but still, it's terrifying.
It really is terrifying to see that. Like, if you like I said, if you have not seen that, don't watch it unless you if you have a high cringe factor. No. It literally did look like the guy pushed his neck inside his shoulders. I can't imagine the amount of pain, but the cool thing too was Big E, as they were wheeling him out on the stretcher, went like this to let everybody know, put up that thumbs up to let everybody know that he was okay and that he's going to be fine. So the fact that he was still able to move while he was being wheeled out was a good sign as well. But Jake, what are your thoughts?
Well, I mean, it's good to see that he's okay, and that when he does return, we'll see that those hips swinging again. But that's to say the least. But yeah, I really gotta say that was a very, very scary moment. I was on Twitter earlier on today, and I just saw something from Big E saying that he was walking around his neighborhood, and that he was just walking around. He said it was like 80 degrees or something outside, and that's great to hear. Honestly, that could have been so much more worse, so much worse. And it could have done him in completely. It could have ended his career, never mind that, it could have ended his life, as Steve was saying. Yeah. And that could have been so bad. I mean, it's not often that you get to see that kind of thing happen, because, most wrestlers are usually careful, but in this case, it was just Ridge Holland botching a move. I mean, I suppose they probably practiced it a few times before, but I mean, at that moment, obviously, it just didn't go right. And I was very, very worried. I was terrified for him, honestly, because I saw that Scott Hall was on life support, and then I saw that Big E just broke his neck, and I was like, oh my gosh, what's gonna happen next? Oh God, is the Undertaker just gonna die for some reason? I don't know. I was freaking out, man. No, I mean, is he going to rest in peace? No, that's not better. Is he gonna live?
Yeah, is he gonna live forever? No. No. I hear what you're saying. I mean, this is the thing. I mean, in every wrestler, has their issues. But keep going. Sorry.
Yeah. See, it was kind of the idea that like I was worried that a young talent like Big E. I mean, he's young, he's strong, he's good, he's a great wrestler. He's definitely got the crowds on him. The crowds love him. The crowds are always there for him. He's there for the crowds. He's always doing stuff for the people, always smiling, always laughing, always making jokes. And it's great to see that though he's injured and even though he's probably in a lot of pain from his neck down right now, he's still making those jokes and he's still connecting with the fan. And I love that. I love that.
Yeah. It's an amazing thing. And he did say that he is shocked because you never realize as a wrestler until you're injured or something like that happens, the outpouring of compassion and love, the people that showed up at the hospital, the people that emailed him, contacted him on Twitter, that have phoned him, that have just outpouring of love he was not expecting from the fans, from family and everything else. And like, if we could phone him, we would, I'm sure, or we could message him.
Yeah.
If you want to message him on his Twitter, go message him on his Twitter. Yeah. Let me phone him.
I would talk to that dude for hours, man. He's phony.
Yeah, and he is. And Jake's right. He has a tremendous sense of humor. He's a great big joker, and I absolutely love his energy. And he will be missed for a while, but he will be back with the way he's walking around and everything else. He's going to be back. So guys, don't get discouraged. But he will be back. When we don't know, possibly in a year, but we want him back at 100%. So let's not rush it. But we wish you all the best, Big E, and get well soon. Okay.
The good news is it's a win and not an F. Okay.
Yes.
There's a million factors, as he was saying about that they probably did practice it a million times, but there's a million different factors that could have happened. His hand could have slipped because of the sweat, or just didn't have a grip. Big E might have released too early or something. Anything could have happened.
Yeah, but we don't know how Rich Holland's feeling right now either.
And that's not his first person.
I feel for him.
So he probably feels terrible.
I definitely feel for Ridge. I mean, I feel so bad for him. He must be hating himself, and I hope he doesn't, because he should know that this isn't his fault. It's nowhere near his fault. It was just an accident that went wrong, and that's all there is to it.
Yeah, that is. Yep. Yeah. And that's the hard part, right? Like, everybody knows, like, everybody says wrestling is fake. It's all staged. Okay, yeah, there's a bit of an act to it. But when they're in that ring and they're doing these moves and everything else, they can get hurt. It is a sport. So, anybody can get hurt playing hockey, playing baseball, even acting, people can get hurt. So, you know what? Like, this is real. And these people are real people. They're still human beings, But yeah, we wish him all the best. We know that he will not come back until he's 100%. So, that's,
he better not.
No, he better not, because I want him back at 100%. We know that. But I digress. We must move on. Okay, so we all know that The Undertaker and Vader have been announced as inductees for the 2022 Hall of Fame. And Vince McMahon is going to be inducting The Undertaker. Undertaker's a little bit afraid of what prank Vince may do on The Undertaker, because if anybody he was to prank, it was The Undertaker, which he did on a constant basis. But Batista will not be announced this year, but they are saying that he should be on the list for 2023. So because of the fact that Big E wants to be able to be there for the ceremony, and he's so involved in his Hollywood career right now that he does not have the time to be there, and he definitely wants to be there for the ceremony and to receive his ring and everything else. So 2023 looks like the year we're going to have to wait for for Batista to have his day. Okay, we're going to go to this. Now, Steve and I told you guys a few weeks ago about a new wrestling show that was going to be called Control Your Narrative. And Adam Scherer is starting it with EC3.
Yeah.
But fans are not happy with a few things regarding Control Your Narrative, which, of course, fans are never happy. They're fickle. They're always complaining about something.
Yeah, tell me about it, man.
Fickle.
Yeah, exactly.
Fickle.
Fickle fan.
Brian Danielson, thank you for that.
right?
Thank you. Yeah.
Okay. But
Fickle.
their biggest gripe lately is the rules
Yeah.
of control your narrative. Now, the rules they're saying are lackadaisical. They say there is no rules, but there's rules. And so fans are picking and chewing at every bit they can get. So here's the list of rules. You guys can take it for what it is yourself. We're not saying anybody's wrong or anybody's right. You're all entitled to your own opinions, but these are the rules. So rule 1, you're in control. Rule 2, you are in control. Number 3, fights end when you tap out, get knocked out, can't stand up, or quit. Sanctioned matches can end via pinfall. Okay. Rule 4, standard professional wrestling rules apply for sanctioned matches. Chaos ensues in the project pit. Okay. Number 5, no hashtag super kicks, no hashtag toppy suicidas. That's how it was written. Yeah, that's it. And no hashtag Canadian destroyers. Rule 6, the fight isn't with your opponent, it is with yourself. Number 7, fights will go on as long as they have to. Sanctioned matches hit their times. And number 8, if you want to control the narrative, you have to fight. Okay. So my opinion on that is this is basically do what you want, but if the match is a sanctioned match, which is obviously a hired match for whatever, kind of like a WWE match or an AEW match, there are rules, there are time limits and everything else. But the fans are upset because it's you control it, but we're going to control it. So that's what fans are upset about. So Jake, we'll go with you first. What are you thinking about that?
Oh, admittedly, number 6 sounds more like a spiritual awakening quote than anything else. But rule number 6, at least. Wow, that's interesting. So I'm assuming that the hashtags mean like you can't use those moves, or
yeah,
is that what that means?
Yeah. They just want people to know that.
Okay.
They just want people in social media that these moves are not allowed.
Well, that's a very odd assortment of moves. I mean, I do understand the super kick in a sense because it's been overused a lot. It was Shawn Michaels' original move, and then everybody started using it, and then it turned into the super kick from the Sweet Chin Music and all that.
Same thing with the Destroyer.
But
too.
Yeah, same thing with the Destroyer as well. I mean, even Bad Bunny used it.
Bad Bunny,
at WrestleMania.
Yeah. He did a phenomenal display.
Yeah.
That was great. That was great.
He did really good. Yeah, that was great. Yeah. But no, it's those are interesting though. I mean, I can understand in a sense that like I think I understand what they mean. They want to bring back kind of the idea of what pro wrestling was, but like if it was more real, like more realistic. Like you're gonna hit these moves, but you're not gonna really fake all of them. You know, some of them are gonna be fake, some of them are actually gonna be realer than others. You know, like a punch to the face will actually be like a real punch to the face, or a kick to the stomach will be a real kick to the stomach. And I can understand that. I mean, I truly do understand the idea of that, but I also think that they shouldn't go this route. I think that this route gives way too much potential for any wrestlers who want to change over to this new brand. It gives them a potential of getting injured a lot faster. That is easy to say. But I do also believe that in my heart of hearts that there is a way to make this work without actually having to enforce all of those rules down to the letter. Yeah. Because I mean it's Adam Scherer, Braun Strowman, and EC3. I mean they're two of the best wrestlers of like WWE and a lot of other companies' histories. Yeah, I think they can make it work.
Yeah. Steve, what are your thoughts on these rules?
I hear what you're saying about the injuries with the straight up fighting part. That is. So what it sounds like is that this is more of like a Raw Underground deal.
Yep.
the no super kicks and destroyer thing, that could just be generally because they're a lower budget company right now, and that's like one of the riskiest moves you can do. So and they're overused. I get that.
Yeah.
They just can't afford. They can already afford the contracts as it is. So people getting injuries, it just wouldn't work for them. Yeah. I think they just want to straight up that they want more like MMA style underground wrestling versus. It's pretty much the way I see it. It's supposed to be like the reverse lucha underground, where that was all flips and kicks. Where this is the opposite. This is like what FTR was when they were in WWE. No flips, just fists. That's pretty much what they're at here. So I mean, they've only had one show. It was packed out. I mean, it was a small venue, so that's not whatever. But I'm curious
could
where it
that
goes.
Be have seen?
It was not.
Could
it
that
was only live.
be seen as?
Oh, you're saying? I thought you were asking.
Their gimmick?
Live. My bad. It wouldn't be seen as that. No, I think it's just they're trying to be different. So they're trying to be like, oh, super kicks and flips are part of like the big machine, and we're not part of that. So we're not. So maybe that's what it is. They're like, oh, we're against the millionaire corporations, so we're not going to do what they do. So I guarantee you they're just going to pull out, stunners and pile drivers soon enough, but we'll see.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's the thing. They're going to be doing I'm sure they're going to do all the moves they were taught and everything else eventually. But I do agree with those high flying moves and everything else as well. Doing too much of that could throw them in that category of trying to be like AEW and WWE. And they don't want to do that. They want to stay, kind of like Steve said, a reverse lucha underground. And everything like that. So I do kind of agree with it. And it does seem to me as well like the Raw underground thing that Shane McMahon tried to do. And I mean, this is the thing, like you take your chances no matter what company you try and start. Fans are going to be fickle because they are loyal to either AEW or WWE or both or whatever. They're loyal to a company. And because this is a new one, we'll have to see how it turns out. They've only had a couple of months in the business so far. So, I mean, we'll give it a year and we'll see where they are, right? We may hear more from them. They may dissipate. We don't know. But I do agree with both you guys. And like I said, everybody's entitled to their opinion, but fans are fickle and they will tell you right out how they feel. So, all right. Now, Bret Hart is the subject as of late in AEW, and we're not sure what's going on with that. Now, he hasn't signed yet or anything like that, but fans are talking about him signing with AEW and becoming FTR's manager because of all the hints that were dropped and little words that were dropped regarding all of this on the recent Dynamite and Rampage. But also the Owen Hart Classic or tournament is coming up. So could he come there just as a participant to be there for it because that is his brother? Would he sign because of this and everything else? We all know he was all for it when they introduced it. Yeah. So I can't wait to see this tournament happen, but I mean, we don't know what's going to happen. This is just some quick news that I just wanted to let you guys know. Whether he does or not, I mean, Bret Hart's an amazing technical wrestler. We all know that. Best there is, best there was, best there ever will be.
He's being Canadian.
Yeah. My fellow Canadian.
I admit he was great. All right, I'll admit it. I'm supposed to hate him as American, but I admit it. He's my 5% Canadian will admit that he was good. I'll give you that.
Steve's had his blood tested. He is 5% Canadian, so
5%, yeah.
Yeah, he has to admit it now.
the French kind is more the French kind, so the scummier kind. So don't worry about it.
Oh, okay.
That means you should like the. That means that you should like the what was his name? The Montreal kid, I think.
Oh my.
What was his name?
I forget now.
Yeah.
Look, I'm more of a Doink the Clown guy, so. You best believe when he comes out. You best believe when he comes out as DLC this year for 2K22 that I'm gonna make him my world champion. That's guaranteed. So
You better.
Oh yeah.
Doink's getting that run that he deserves.
Doink the Clown as Universal Champion? What?
Yeah, and I have Dink and Donk as the tag champ, so I'll make it work. As the tag champ.
Dink and doink. Dink, doink, and donk.
The new evolution.
The new NWO. No, just kidding.
Lord, could you imagine? Give Doink Scott Hall's
That'd be their
entrance,
best
man,
division.
Doink with Scott Hall's entrance would be something.
That's it, right?
Oh yeah, that would be something.
Yeah.
He does this and he.
Okay.
Oh my!
Hey, at least it's not the gobbledygooker, okay? Come on.
I will not allow any
hey,
slander.
at least it's not the Shockster.
I will
Hey, at
not
least it's
allow.
not the Shockster.
I will not allow any slander of the gobbledygooker in this chat.
Dang. No, just hey, it's my chat. What are you talking about? No.
I will not allow any slander of Mr. Gook. All right.
All right. I'll move on
I
then.
apologize.
Yeah.
All right. So the next thing we're going to talk about is some news, and I wish Jason was here because I'm sure he knows by now. But Steven Regal has signed with AEW and has now become a manager for Jon Moxley and Bryan Danielson. And he says he is super happy. He was happy with the way NXT was going. It's moving on to new things. So it was time for him as well to move on to new things. So this is what he has chosen as his new thing to do. We've seen 2 matches already with these guys and him by their side, and it's been phenomenal. The smile that has been on Regal's face and hearing his voice on the mic again, he just sounds so happy, and I am so happy for him. And Steve, your comments.
Regal, huh?
Yeah.
He's kind of important, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm kidding. No, that
Kind of, yeah.
The best part about his
Finally.
debut during Revolution this year wasn't that it wasn't the classic lights go out and there he is in the middle of the ring. It was just he just casually, just nonchalant, just walked down the ramp. And then, hey guys, you guys good? And then he just slapped the living hell out of Moxley and Bryan as they're fighting.
Yep.
2 of the scariest dudes in the business, and he just comes up and whacks them right in the face. Like that was respect enough for them. And now he's managing like probably the most ridiculous non-compatible tag team in history. I'm down for it.
Yeah.
Because Mox is a face, Bryan's a tweener, more of a heel in the ring. And yet they're making it work so well. It's actually insane. Especially with the new tag team that's formed in AEW, which we'll get to that, I'm sure, soon. This tag division is kind of nuts right now.
It is.
A little bit.
Yeah. And things are happening for ECW or ECW, AEW.
It feels like it right now. I know.
It
It's
does.
Right?
The dog collar
Yeah.
match.
We're in the 90s again, and like the early 2000s.
ECW revival.
No, the Revival, that was FTR. That's WWE rights.
But yeah, I do agree with you, Steve. And I don't know how Jade feels about Steven Regal being on AEW, but I'd like to know.
Yeah, sure. Steven Regal. Sorry, I'm so used to calling him
What did I
William
just say?
Regal.
That's what I meant to say.
Yeah, you've been calling him
Regal.
Steven Regal.
Oops.
She was.
Yeah,
around
you've been
when
calling
he
him
was-
Steven Regal.
He was the working man, and with Steven Regal with the hard hat. So I'll give her the break on that. That's why I haven't said anything.
Yeah. Either way, William Regal. I mean, we gotta think about this here, right? He was one of the best decorated superstars when he first started in WWE. He always has a recognizable face, and you definitely know him by the accent. He takes. I still gotta go off of what Steve said. I mean, he walks up to the 2 toughest and strongest people, basically going in AEW, slaps him across the face and says, "Yeah, you two are becoming a tag team now. This is nuts." It's this whole thing, you know. It's crazy to imagine that. I mean, that he's already made such a big impact, and he hadn't even arrived yet. People had known that he was probably going to sign with AEW. They had rumors about it, and even then he blew up before he even joined. It was nuts.
Yeah.
And then he joins. He does what he does best, and he gets on people's nerves at some points. And I gotta say, he did it in the right way this time. He's done it ever since he left AEW, and NXT. Ever since he left NXT, waiting for a chance for people to bring NXT 2.0 out. You know, he really did a good job there. But I'm so excited to see what he's going to do for AEW.
Yeah, me too. And I mean, like we've seen William Regals, and yes, I remember him as Steven Regal. That's all I ever called him. But William Regal did amazing things with Triple H on NXT, so I can't wait to see what he does now. I mean, I'm anticipating.
Oh God.
Steve and I both know that every Wednesday and Friday we both go through like AEW withdrawal. So, you know.
It's a feeling I haven't had since I was a lot younger. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, like do you remember that feeling when you first saw wrestling? And I'm sure Steve remembers it. Sure, Jake remembers it. But if you guys in the chat or watching this on the playback remember that first feeling, that thing that got you going, this is wrestling. This is so cool, and you couldn't miss every Saturday or every Monday and Thursday when it started. You know what I mean? Like, this is how we feel about AEW now, but we still are watching WWE. We still watch it. I mean, there still are great things happening on it, but just AEW is more of what WWE used to be. And, you know, this is, you know, so, well,
yeah.
To add another superstar to that, joining AEW is Jeff Hardy has now also become All Elite, and the Hardys are back as a tag team. He says it was the smartest thing he's ever done. He said he felt valuable for the first time because he said, well, he was with wrestling. He says there was some matches. He was like, yes, I'm here. I'm back. I'm blah, blah, blah. And he says, and there was other times where he was wandering around backstage feeling like a ghost, like he didn't even know why he was there.
Yeah.
So for him to feel valuable, wanted, and, you know, needed in the wrestling world, which we all need Jeff Hardy, you know, is a big thing for Jeff Hardy. So Jake, just real quick, what are your thoughts on Jeff Hardy signing?
Awesome. That is really, really awesome to hear. I mean, I heard recently some rumors about him potentially bringing back his Willow character as well, which should be interesting. That was nuts to hear to begin with. But then when I heard that Jeff actually signed with AEW, he decided to be back with the Hardy Boys. I mean, we're talking about the Hardy Boys here, right? These are not just your average tag team. These are the people who were in the first ever tag team TLC match of all time against Edge and Christian. That was one of the biggest matches in WWE history. And you gotta think, like, these are the same guys from back then. They're just in a different brand. What are they gonna bring? What new things are they gonna do? What is Jeff gonna jump off of next? You know?
Yeah.
Like
he could pull a sting.
You gotta think about it that way. We don't know. And I'm curious. And this is only a little bit of a speculation. Well, not really a speculation, more of a hope, actually. I hope that William Regal actually manages to make a good tag team out of the two that he has right now, Jon Moxley and Bryan Danielson. Right. And then we can see the Hardys versus who once was Daniel Bryan and Dean Ambrose. I mean, that's huge. That would draw in a crowd, I think, at least. I mean, that would definitely bring something in, or even Sting and Darby Allin, right? I mean, these are big names, and the Hardy Boys are definitely added to that.
Yeah,
I think they're going to do great.
Yeah, I can't wait. I mean, he said he even enjoys putting his makeup on again. There's a point to it now.
Yeah,
he was at a point where he didn't enjoy putting makeup on. That's literally one of his life
he
passions.
loves it.
Wow, he
Yeah,
was
and
that
yeah.
miserable, huh?
Yeah, the other thing too was he said that Vince, he felt like they only wanted him there to sell action figures because he loved looking at the makeup he'd done. They'd put it on an action figure and he was blown away by it, how they could make it exactly as the way he'd done it on his face. But that's not what he is. He's a
Right.
superstar.
No.
He loves to high fly. He loves to
yeah.
be in that ring, right?
Yeah.
But Steve, what are your thoughts? Because I know you and I were like screaming with Austin, almost crying when he came in. But
well, that morning when they announced that there's going to be an AHFO, emergency meeting, I was like, this is it, guys. And I was telling you guys early in the morning, messaging. I'm like, guys, Jeff Hardy showing up today. And then I was sending Vicky like messages and Austin. I was like, his contract just expired like 4 hours for the show. He is going to be there tonight. I'm telling you.
he's going. My phone was going ding, ding, ding.
Yeah, seriously. I'm like, this is it, guys. You guys got to be here tonight. Like, this going to happen. And then, Sting and Darby came out, and I was like, don't give up hope. They're still outnumbered. Don't give up hope. Yep. And then boom, the loaded hits.
Yep.
Loaded hits, and there's Jeff. There he is. I never knew that WWE never owned that theme song. I had no clue.
Yeah, I had no clue either until you told me that. I thought that WWE owned the song, but who actually wrote it? And
it's owned by like Warner Media Records or something. So it was just a regular. The song is actually like copyright free music kind of song.
Oh.
Yeah. So
really?
Yeah. So it wasn't actually owned by WWE. So Tony Khan bought it for fairly cheap because it was just owned by a regular record company for advertising music because it was actually used in like advertising.
Oh wow!
Yeah, it wasn't anywhere like anything I've seen, but apparently it's been in advertisements.
I have seen it actually. Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah,
I've seen it in an advertisement.
And like you were saying about the face paint with the action figures, and after my answer here, I got to go feed my dogs and the cats real quick. But he posts almost because he does his music now, and he does his music, and I thought that was gonna be one of his theme songs because he teased it like right for the show, a song that he did, and it had "Whisper in the Wind" in it. So I was like, okay, so maybe he's teasing this new song, but it wasn't. But and all of a sudden, here comes. This is what I was saying about face paint. Every time he always posts like they make like milk gallons or water gallons or whatever jugs, and they put his face paint on it, and he's always showing it. The one side's got his eyes closed, they turn it around, his eyes are open. It's pretty sick. And he's just that's one of his passions is just his straight up paintings and stuff. His face paint stuff. So to hear you say that he was actually like not about using the face paint anymore, he was just not into it.
Yeah,
that depressed me.
Yep,
hearing that because like that's literally him. Like when you think of Jeff Hardy, not early on in like his career, but like when you think of like Team Extreme and Broken Hearted, you always thought because even Miro, he was super painted up. Yeah. So you always thought of the face paint. Jeff Hardy went through like all of his theme songs in TNA were all face paint. In the entrance, themes.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
So when you were telling me that he didn't even feel like putting his face on, I was like, wow, he was that miserable.
Yeah, he was that bad.
Yeah.
My last thing, a lot of people are hating him because of how he faked his, OD and faked the addictions to get out. I honestly give him credit for it, and for one reason. If he didn't do that, he'd be like Mustafa Ali is right now.
Stuck.
He'd be stuck in a loop and he wouldn't be able to do anything. For the next he had like 2 years left on his contract. He'd have been stuck there. He wouldn't be able to do anything. So I praise him for what he did.
Yeah, he'd be stuck. Yeah.
Ali posts tweets and he's like he saw Revolution, and then he at the end of Revolution we saw a tweet from Ali that just said someday. Like he's miserable. He wants to. His career is being wasted.
Yeah, he's so sad. Like he's been he's asked a few times, hasn't he? To leave.
Yeah, he's been begging to be released, but they
seriously,
won't.
Like if his career is being wasted,
I don't understand why. Like
I don't agree with a lot of like the politics today or like the things people talk about today, and especially on Twitter. But the one hashtag that I will always support is Free Ali, because like there's no reason that dude should be chained up where he is. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, and I agree with you. No, it is inhuman. You're right, Jake. Steve, we'll let you go feed your dogs. We'll continue talking about this a little bit, and I'll do a couple of things. And when you come back, we'll talk about more issues in the WWE. Which...
I love some issues in the WWE. Oh, right? Hell yeah, I do. Stone Cold has some issues with the WWE. With all Vince McMahon's.
Can I get a hell yeah?
Oh, hell yeah.
Okay. But yeah, with Jeff Hardy, I mean, to get to the point where even Jeff Hardy doesn't want to put his makeup on and whatever he did to get out of it, it just blew me away because I grew up I watched him being my age. I'm 50 years old, and I watched this guy go start with Matt Hardy when they came in. They were amazing high flyers, ladder matches, this, that, and the other thing. Yeah. And late TLC matches came about with them there, you know? And to see, I don't know if you saw the first match he had come when he came back with Matt Hardy, their first tag team match back together. The look on Jeff's face, the energy you could feel from him through the screen, you could feel that energy. He was just free. And what they're doing to Ali, he has asked several times to be released. He was supposed to be part of the Royal Rumble, but because they won't release him, he said, nope, I'm not being a part of it. I'm out. Find somebody to replace me. So that's why he wasn't in the Royal Rumble, because he knows it's not going anywhere. And the reason I think WWE is hanging on to him until his contract expires is because they know where he's going to go. He's going to go straight to Tony Khan. He's going to sign with AEW, and he's out of there because he is not happy. And when a wrestler is at that point, you cannot keep him there. It's depressing. And his lawyers have been up, down, all over it. There's nothing Ali can do, unfortunately. Whatever. And so what if Jeff faked what he did? Yeah, okay, that's not the right way to do it. But he had no other choice because he had to get out of there. He was suffering mentally, so, and that is not good for someone to suffer that way. If you're in a job you don't enjoy, what do? You go start looking for a job that could be something you enjoy or is your dream job. You don't sit there in this half-assed paying job where you're not happy. You don't do that. So the fact no. The fact that he did that, I'm not condoning it. You shouldn't do that. But if that's what he had to do to get out of his job, then you know what? Things are pretty bad. So, Jake, you and I are going to talk about a couple of things before Steve comes back. He doesn't usually take too long. All right. But Cody Rhodes is actually now, in the last few months, finally actually confirmed to signing a contract with WWE. There is a rumor that he will be having a match at WrestleMania with Seth Rollins. It is not confirmed yet, but Monday is still yet to come, so we don't know what's going to happen. I mean, I don't know how I feel about Cody Rhodes coming back to WWE. I mean, they said he may come back as Stardust. Not so sure that was my favorite character, his. But one of the main issues of him coming back was covering the neck tattoo. That had to do with AEW and everything else. So, what do you think about Cody Rhodes coming back?
I'm kind of on the fence about it. I mean, realistically speaking, he left WWE.
You froze. You froze, Jake. I don't know if you can hear me, but you're frozen. I'll wait till you come back. If you need to go out and come back, Jake, by all means do it. But yeah, I mean, this is the thing. Cody Rhodes and Dustin both left.
Okay, you can bring back... Oh, sorry. No,
it's okay. You froze for a minute there, so I was going to say, give you a second, so go ahead now.
Yeah, okay. I don't know how I feel, really. I'm kind of unsure. I mean, I hope to God that he does not bring back the Stardust character. I hated that character. with so much of me that, oh my god.
Yeah.
But I mean, look, okay, you're gonna talk about Cody Rhodes, right? He's part of the Rhodes family, one of the biggest wrestling families next to the Wtih family in WWE history. And that's not something just to smile at. I mean, that's Dustin Rhodes, that's Dusty Rhodes, that's him, that's Brandy Rhodes, that's everyone, right? You got to imagine that that's a lot of people. But I don't know if this is the right time for him to come back to WWE. And I'm gonna go off on this a bit as well, saying that I've told people this before. Now is not the time to come back or start in WWE because WWE cannot get its act together at this moment. That's what I'm seeing, at least. They seem to be laying off a lot of people, and they don't seem to know what they're doing. They used to be for the fans, and now they're no longer for the fans because Vince McMahon just kind of stopped. So I think, yeah, exactly. He used to. What happened, right? I just don't get it.
Yeah.
But I don't think now is the time. I mean, think about it, right? We're seeing Stone Cold Steve Austin at WrestleMania, okay? That should be enough. That's enough to headline WrestleMania. We're seeing Brock Lesnar versus Roman Reigns for a winner-takes-all match at WrestleMania. Yeah. That's another huge match that you don't have to bring in. I just don't think you have to bring in Cody Rhodes for this specific WrestleMania. I think it would have been more impactful next year, personally.
Yeah. I mean, they've already got WrestleMania on for 2 nights in a row. Okay?
Yeah.
Which it used to be one because a lot of what's in between is all these fillers and promos and everything else. You don't need all that.
Yeah.
People just want to see wrestling. You're doing enough promotion during the week, right? Like yesterday, here's a perfect example. Steve went off for a bit, and Austin and him and I were watching SmackDown, right? And you think about the way that it happened as, like Charlotte, they reviewed what happened the week before, then the next week, and then what happened last week, and then, whatever. And I'm like, why do that? Just recap last week. He needs to know what went on 3 weeks ago.
I suppose a bit of exposition would be helpful, but I mean, not to that extent. Not to that extent.
Like,
no, that's taking it too far.
Make a couple little drop-ins of what happened in previous weeks and go, this happened last week, and then whatever. But if you look at AEW, they have their promos, but a lot of what they do is they go, while a match is going on, and they're commentating, is Excalibur or Tony Schiavone, who's ever the head MC there, will say, okay, and on Rampage or on Dark, we have so-and-so fighting so-and-so. And it's in the bottom right-hand corner. So you're still promoting those matches, and they're huge matches, and you're still paying attention, right? But it's there. It's not a huge promo, but they have their promos. They can fit in one pay-per-view. I think they had, 8 matches almost? On Wednesday, they had 6 matches in a 2-hour frame, in which we see, maybe 4 in a 2-3-hour frame?
Yeah.
So, bringing in Cody Rhodes is, I don't know. I
just don't feel like it's the time.
Yeah.
I just don't feel like it's the time. I mean, because we also have Edge as well. I mean, you think about Edge as well. Like, he's going to be there too. So,
Yep. Yeah. And like you said, the Anoa family with Roman Reigns, The Rock. We've got Nia Jax, the Usos.
I'll have to be right back. Sorry, I know you're going to be hosting this alone.
No,
I'm sorry.
Okay. That's okay. I'm good. Go do what you got to do and come back. But yeah, so this is the thing, right? Like, we look at all these families. We've got the Ortons, the Von Erichs. You have the Hart family and stuff like that. And I mean, but you look at Brock Lesnar as well, and Brock Lesnar is the happiest I've ever seen him. They're letting him be him. And I think the thing about Brock Lesnar is they're actually letting him control. I think that was one of the stipulations I'm guaranteeing about his coming back, was that he had some sort of control over his character and everything else. So, but yeah, Cody Rhodes coming back. Steve, real quick, what do you think about Cody Rhodes re-signing with WWE and fighting Seth Rollins possibly at WrestleMania?
I think he's a douche.
Yeah.
I don't like Cody Rhodes as it is, so it's not that he left. I'm glad he left, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
But the issue is that I have is hold on. Sorry, I got a text.
It's okay. But I mean,
but anyway, what I was saying was he's been trash talking WWE for the last 7 years to the moon. Like CM Punk Pipebomb, bad, right?
Yeah.
And just for him to be like, yeah, I don't like you guys, but let me get a 1-year contract. Huh? Like, is Cody trying that hard to be over with people? I mean, come on now.
I thought it was a ploy as to maybe he wants to come over for a year to see how bad things really are.
Mm-hmm.
He was hated back.
See how bad it's gotten
in AEW.
Yeah.
So his thing is he wants to get in the spotlight because when you go Hollywood, that's all he wants, the spotlight. Well, he's got that now.
Yeah.
So, and now that Triple H isn't there anymore, I guess maybe that's why he wanted to go back. But
could be. But I mean, a lot of Triple
Did they have a
H's.
grudge against Triple H?
Rhodes didn't
They
like
don't
Triple
like
H.
each other.
I mean, they're not like, hey, they don't hate each other, but they don't like working together.
No.
And Cody Rhodes has stated that for the last 7 years. That's the reason he left.
Yes, but the reason he's hated in AEW is because he overbooked himself and Brandy.
Mm-hmm.
So.
I'm sorry, I'm eating chips.
It's okay.
Well, Brandy said the reason she left.
Where's mine?
Well, it's because PVZ was going to sign, and she does not like Paige. As that.
Yeah.
That's why Brandy left.
Yeah.
So, who knows?
Yeah, exactly. Well,
if they're doing it for the money and not just for the fame, I'm okay with it. But knowing Cody, it's not that.
Yeah, knowing Cody, it's not that, especially Brandy. I mean, but part of it, I think, is because they just had a new baby and everything else, and trying to get his big time show off the ground, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, who knows? Who knows? Yeah, you forgot about that?
Yeah. I think he's going to come back as Stardust, but I don't see that without Goldie.
Yeah, it's happened so fast. No, I hope he doesn't. I really don't. But they do want him to cover the neck tattoo, so you never know, right?
It's possible that that's the reason, but
yeah. But, all right. Well, I guess we'll see what happens on Monday night when it comes to WrestleMania.
It sounds like he's going to be the one to face Seth Rollins.
Yeah. That's what the plan is, I'm thinking. That's what's all over the news as well. So, okay. So, one more quick thing. And then we're going to get to this news about the WWE, but AEW Double or Nothing is scheduled for May 2022. Not a confirmed date as of yet. They have not put that out there, but it is in May.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there is a confirmed date, but they just said May 2022. Tickets are already almost sold. 13,000 tickets have been sold already.
Yeah.
Who knows how many more since that was reported. But there are still tickets available if you want to go see that Double or Nothing. All right.
Can I mention something on that real quick?
Absolutely, dude.
So I'm a huge AEW mark. My birthday happens to be May 28th. Okay. Double or Nothing is on May 29th. There's a Rampage on the 27th.
Yeah.
And Dynamite's on the 25th. That's a great week for me this year. That is a great week this year.
Hold on, let me just keep in mind your birthday again. What was it again?
May 28th. You're gonna spoil me with some.
May 28th.
If you're gonna send me anything, it's that Red Dragon T-shirt. All right. I'm the one person out of every fan in the world that out of the Undisputed Era, my favorite's Bobby Fish. So I mean, that's my boy. I love the mustache. I love the kicks. I love the fish on the butt. I love it.
Mike's Bobby Fish. What?
Bobby Fish is beautiful.
Crazy Steve is absolute. No,
I love Adam Cole. I love Chubbs. I watch him
Adam
play Halo.
Cole, baby.
I love KOR. But I'm telling you what, man. When they got Bobby Fish, I knew that they're all going to come over. It was just a matter of time.
Yeah. Now we just need Roderick Strong, and we're all set.
He's a manager right now, so it's not another question.
No, exactly. So
yeah.
All right. So the last major news thing we're going to get to is about WWE, and then we're going to talk about WrestleMania weekend. There are more problems in the WWE. Now, Vince may be selling WWE. We've been talking about this for a couple of months now, and everybody talking about it just because stocks are going down. They're letting all these wrestlers go. They're shutting down companies in other countries, which is how WWE became so prominent, is they went to these other networks and companies and owned them all over the world. But now they've sold off all this stuff. Their stocks are plummeting. People are selling. But why would a sale of the WWE create more problems for them? Well, here's a few things. Shane will not be taking over for Vince. Neither would Triple H. There's many issues between Triple H and Vince. We know that. And also Triple H has stepped back from NXT.
He married his daughter, for Christ's sake. So there's going to be issues for her.
Exactly. But it's also due to health
issues.
Yeah,
you think so,
he's had heart issues.
Yeah.
Disney wants to buy it, but is that a good thing?
Mm-mm.
Okay, so here's the thing. Here's some of the problems. There will be confusion for those who come into power if the person Nick Khan hires to run the company knows nothing of wrestling. It could become a sitcom type of show, which we don't want for wrestling. Okay, they would have to know.
That's 205 Live.
Yeah, exactly. They would have to have knowledge of all the companies, rules, matches, wrestlers, etc., etc. Fans' loss of interest, fall in value. No one can do what Vince did. Now you have to remember, 50 years ago, Vince took the business over from his father and what his father started and made it an empire. Now, as Vince gets older, times are changing. COVID hit. Things are going downhill. It's been suffering for at least the last 10 years. Okay. It may die altogether if somebody new takes over. Would the new owner listen to the fans? It could end up in Tony Khan's hands. And if he does, NXT could shut down. WWE are the caretakers of the industry. They're the ones who made it as big as it is. So it's going to be rough. Will someone else do better than Vince? Celebrities may make bigger roles. Storylines could drive more fans away. And only a matter of time before all the shows switch from cable to OTT platforms. So those are the major issues with selling the company. And it's a big issue for me because like Steve and I, we grew up with that. Jake, you as well. You grow up watching WWE. And then you see it failing. It breaks your heart. You know, you don't want to see this company that was the major empire, was the most known wrestling agency in the entire free world. It even beat out WCW. Okay. And then to see it become what it is today, it breaks my heart. But Steve, we'll go with you first. I want to know your opinion on selling the company. And if they did, like, do you agree with some of these downfalls?
Hold on. Okay, so Vince, I've had a lot to talk about Vince over the last couple of years. He's out of shape. He's too old. He's not with the young anymore. He's trying to make wrestling, because I noticed this with SmackDown Live. SmackDown Live felt more like early 2000s and 90s wrestling. And then, especially with the Authority era. And then once that broke down, Triple H left for NXT. Shane left again, then switched over. You know, he always leaves and comes back. Once that broke down, he started trying to make it more modernized. And his whole attitude changed. He started not wanting big guys there anymore. He started not wanting bigger women there, even though Dewdrop's there. And in a pretty predominant role for at least the last couple months. And he's just completely changed. He's pushing Ricochet now. Who knows how long that's going to be. It's so weird when we talk about people like Cesaro, who didn't resign. We talk, we praise them to the moon about their accomplishments in WWE. And then we go to check, and it's like, wait, they didn't have any accomplishments in WWE. Exactly. Right? Yeah. He was a tag team champion once, I think, before Sheamus. I think he was with Tyson Kidd or something. I don't remember who it was. But then he got with the bar. I don't know. So Cesaro's. I think it might have been Tyson Kidd or Swagger, maybe one of the two, because he may be a Swagger because he was in the whatever the alliance or whatever they made. But well, yeah, that's just Swagger's thing with Zeb Coulter. But he had this whole career and no world titles. He had the U.S. title, I think, twice, tag titles, and that was it. Mm-hmm. That when I found that out, because I was looking through the Wikipedia of him, I'm like, that's unfortunate.
Yeah,
seriously, like Cesaro, I'm a big Cesaro guy, and when he finally got his Mania moment and won the match of Mania, I was like, this is gonna be the year Cesaro, right? This is it. And then we didn't see him for like a few months.
Yeah.
So, I mean, and it's not just him; it's a lot of people. They just don't push people that are over, and that's why I'm not really big into the New Day anymore. Because I used to like him, but then when they got pushed, it was almost like Roman Reigns getting pushed over and over again. It's even like Brock Lesnar. I know you were talking about him earlier when I was coming back.
Yeah.
I didn't like heel Brock ever. That was the kissing Vince's ass Brock, where he came in and he was just the champ, never defended it. This new Brock's on TV every week. You know, I'm loving it. So I'm not going to say WWE is all negative right now. And
no,
but with Vince right now, I think it's in trouble. But the problem is, without Vince, it could be worse. That's true. That's the situation because he's done it so long. But then look at Tony Khan. He's fairly young, and he's making this business, which I don't know if you talked about or are going to talk about. But WWE, it was in a lawsuit with like MLW or something. They admitted that AEW beat them in ratings for half an hour.
Yep.
Like, they actually acknowledged AEW being the better brand for half an hour in one of the shows.
Yeah.
So they're not oblivious to it. They know what's going on, and Vince he acts like he's not freaked out by it, but he is. But you notice, and this is the last thing, because I know I'm carrying on, but
no, it's okay.
They tend to try to come up with new ideas, and it just makes no sense. Like how they have no tag teams to face Carmella and Zelina, and now all of a sudden there's a new tag team each week, and now there's an 8-woman like fatal 4-way tag match at Mania. Like, what's going on?
Yeah.
All these new tag teams that are getting title shots out of nowhere. And they're also stealing ideas too, with the whole Serena Deeb on Rampage is doing the Professor Challenge. All of a sudden now Charlotte's doing the Queen's Challenge.
Yep.
Like, come on now. I think what they're doing is they're watching AEW and trying to see what people like about it, and they're trying to mimic it. When AEW first broke that 1 million this year for the first time.
Yeah.
If you remember, the talks were like, oh, this is where the wrestling war is going to start. You know, WWE is going to get better. AEW is going to get better. And it did for a few months. There were some Raw shows I genuinely enjoyed. The roll-up stopped for a while. You know, it started getting better. Now we're back to doing roll-ups. We're back to having, I mean, at least it's not Rhea versus freaking Nikki Ash every week anymore. That was going on for a month. Veer Mahan is still edging. You know, he still hasn't come yet completely. He's still edging. I mean, we watch it to try to give it some slack, cut it some slack. But when we go to that, to then watching Rampage, and we forget that last Wednesday was not even a pay-per-view, that's where you got to be concerned about WWE.
Yeah.
They were never a threat with TNA. TNA was never, and maybe that's why they kind of have been lazy about AEW.
Yeah,
TNA really wasn't. It was great, but that was, I mean, they only get 10,000 viewers a week right now. You know, so TNA is not really a threat. But when AEW showed up 3 years in, and now they're getting 1 million views a week, like, come on now.
But, I mean, you're also seeing new people come in every week, so to speak, but the way that they're still booking them, they have, you know, Dark and they have Elevation. You're still getting to see the indie people that they were talking about pushing. You're still getting them getting to see them wrestle, and it's free. It's on YouTube.
Yeah, and literally every single champion in AEW right now. Okay, sure, most of them have been in WWE for an appearance, like Britt Baker, Thunder Rosa wasn't, but Britt Baker she got squashed by Nia Jax when she was, she's not champion anymore. I don't think Thunder Rosa was ever there. Scorpio Sky was he was the freaking shrink for Team Hell No. That was him, Stanley, whatever his name is, or whatever the dude's name was.
Yeah.
That was him. Luchasaurus was almost like ECW when he did a tryout.
Right.
So I mean, sure they were there once. Even Kenny Omega had a cameo and like appearance in WWE, right?
Yep,
so,
he did.
To say that it's all WWE people that are the champs. No, it's all Indies and AEW. I almost said ECW. It's all AEW guys that are champs right now. I know that's the talking point a lot on our podcast, but no, seriously, every champion is still, even look at Jay Cargill, completely AEW grown.
Yep.
So all the people are homegrown, like they're not from former promotions, and they're not saying a damn thing about these AEW guys going over, right? They're just, the excuse there is like, oh wow, AEW sucks, they're coming back over. Well, I mean, no, Vince is in trouble.
Yeah,
he needs to train somebody that he can trust. He doesn't need to just go for the biggest paycheck, which he will.
Yeah.
But if he's smart, he'll go for somebody that knows the business.
Yeah.
Whether it's Bruce Pritchard, pray to God it isn't, or somebody that knows the business.
Please no.
I'm not saying it would be a good thing, but that'd be better than some rando that doesn't know anything about the company.
This is true. Bruce Pritchard does know quite a bit, but I don't.
Dixie Carter or somebody that's been there.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not going to say they're the best choices, but at least it's better than picking up a millionaire that has never done it. They just are rich. So,
but maybe that's another reason Cody's coming back. I don't know. But Jake, what are your thoughts on all of that? It's a lot to think about.
Well, I definitely have to say, the first thing that I thought of when you said that Disney was thinking of buying it was I just started laughing. I couldn't help it because I was like, imagine just I couldn't help but imagine like a AJ Styles match. But then it's also sponsored by the new Beauty and the Beast movie. It's like...
and the new Mickey Mouse Clubhouse World Champion. Really funny
to me. Mickey, AJ Styles. But I mean, sorry, I have to say this, though, Jake. If you think about it, I think Disney's only thinking about the merch sales at this point. You could make an AJ with a Mickey outfit on, or something. But go ahead, sorry.
Yeah, no. See, the problem with Disney is that they know nothing of the company. Yeah, sure, they may have a few employees who may have some idea, but they don't know anything about WWE. They don't know anything about wrestling. So why would they buy a wrestling promotion than what you said, right? The reason being merch sales. You can get all this stuff on all these new wrestlers. Oh, this new guy just signed. Quickly put some merch on him that's both wrestling and Disney related. And yes, I understand that WWE and Disney do go hand in hand as being some of the biggest companies in the world.
Yeah.
At the same time, I don't think that Disney has any place really near WWE. I don't think they deserve to be near WWE. I don't think they should own it. I don't think anything along those lines. But also going into that, saying another thing, though, I don't know who should grab it. I mean, I think personally, although they did leave, I mean, I'm kind of 50-50 on what I'm about to say next because I'm like, I don't know if I agree with it or if I don't. But I think that they should hand it off or hand the ratings off to Adam Scherr and EC3.
Yeah.
I know that sounds crazy.
Oh, man.
At least give them a shot. I know that sounds insane. But the reason that I say this is because, I mean, realistically speaking, first off, who better to run a company than somebody who was in the company to begin with? Somebody who actually actively was part of a roster of one of the shows that the company owned every week, every day, pretty much. I mean, they did something, right? Yep. At least. Well, okay, Braun Strowman did. EC3 not as much, but still. The only other person I could think about that, about giving a good idea to, I think that another good idea for a WWE, the new owner of WWE would be Bray Wyatt.
Oh.
He had good ideas.
Oh.
He had a creative talent. The Fiend, he was phenomenal. His original cult character was phenomenal. Firefly Funhouse was amazing. For ideas that he pitched and that he helped and that he made them into something special, and everyone loved it. I mean, at first people were like, "Oh God, look, he's terrifying. He shows up, he attacks people. Oh my gosh, ah!" And then they changed from that to being like, "Oh my!" Like they changed, like they changed from that, from being terrified of him to giving them the same pop that they would Undertaker if he were to come out. Huge pop that he got every single time those lights went out. They were nuts. The same thing as like the Fiend, not the Fiend, the Demon, Bray Wyatt, right? You know, the same idea. You gotta get that. When you get the ratings up because of something, you don't release it. But that also gives me the idea that I think that the one to take this company in a creative direction would be Bray Wyatt because of that fact alone. Is that he single-handedly made something in WWE that set WWE for a long time. People showed up to see him. That's what I think.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I agree with you in the thing, but I mean, if they had a combined effort, like they had Daniel Bryan doing stuff for storylines, they had Nikki Bella doing stuff for the women's storylines, stuff like that, and they were coming up with great ideas. But then they brought in all these guys who have nothing to do with wrestling. They don't know anything about it, and they're putting all these stories together like it's a freaking movie place, doing almost like cinematic type matches in real life. You can't do that. You know,
Logan Paul.
You have to keep it real. In that sense, like I realize it's practiced, whatever, but you have to keep it real in that sense. So if you get a guy like Bray Wyatt and, Adam Scherer, which is Braun Strowman, or EC3 or any like them to collab on a joint thing with Stephanie, even because she's brilliant as well for the females with like Trish Stratus and Nikki Bella.
Amazing.
But even Stephanie said if she took over the company once her dad passed away, it would be delegated throughout the company. It would be as a whole that everybody would make decisions together, not just Vince at the top going, yeah, okay, yeah, no, I don't want that. Yeah, okay, no. You know, like it needs to be a joint collaboration.
That would put less stress.
Yeah.
It would put less stress on one person compared to like everyone else, you know?
I agree. And I think that's a lot of why Triple H ended up having the heart issues that he had, because he was doing NXT like crazy, and he made a phenomenal show out of NXT. He's the only reason I watched it because of what he put together. And I mean, the Halloween Havocs were amazing. The steel cage matches, the War Games, everything that was just
War Games.
Oh God, War Games, amazing.
Yes, brilliant ideas that you would never see on WWE. So as it started to become bigger, Vince went, wait, Raw and SmackDown aren't getting the views anymore. Everybody's over here watching NXT because they're the young up-and-comers. This is the future of our business.
Yeah.
Right? So this is what Vince needs to be paying attention to, not what's in the ring already. You know? We've seen what's in the ring already a million times. We need to pay attention to like Braun Breaker and stuff like that, you know, Indy Hartwell, these kind of people, you know. But anyways, well, in the coming year, we'll let you know as we have news about it, and we'll keep you posted on what they decide to do, and whatever. But in the last bit of this, we're going to mention WrestleMania weekend next weekend, April 2nd and 3rd.
Can I mention something?
Yes, you absolutely can, my dude.
While he was talking about people who he thinks could run, Mick Foley came in my head for, I don't know why.
Yep.
But I just thought, damn, Mick Foley was always there.
Yep.
That'd be a heck of a draw.
Yeah, him and Shawn Michaels too.
Or you can have Matt Hardy there, and when he fires somebody, I will release you, release. Yep. You know, you got the Matt Hardy deal.
Release.
Yeah. No, but I think Nick would be great. If it's not Triple H or Shane, because there's still talks of Shane bringing back WCW, so who knows? Yeah.
Well, we know he didn't buy Ring of Honor, so.
Well, yeah. Tony Khan makes sure.
Look, okay, all I can really say, as I said before to Mrs. Owl here, that I mean, now is not the time to be in WWE. It's not.
No.
It's just not the time. It's not. They have to get their act together before you rejoin. If you're going to join them, don't. Consider your other options first.
Yeah, I would
Don't.
agree
Not
with
right
it.
now. At least right now. They're a good company. Vince McMahon has some good ideas. I will give him credit for what he has already done, definitely. But just don't join right now. Wait a little bit. Maybe wait like a few years until things are sorted out, until they get their act together so they can actually, welcome you.
Yeah.
That's what I think.
But I agree with Steve too. Now that Vince has actually admitted that AEW is his competition, I think things may start to get better because we know Vince thrives when it comes to competition and outdoing the competition.
Which that's all we ask for.
That's true.
Exactly. Well said. That's
true.
exactly it. That's all we want is for him to pay attention. But the thing that got me, and we reported it last week, I don't know if you heard me say it, Jake, but Vince does not pay attention to Twitter and Instagram and what fans are saying there. He needs to, because that's where most of his fans are. They're not necessarily going to send voicemails and make videos like we do. They're going to go on Twitter and they're going to throw their comments out there at WWE. He needs to pay attention to that. And the shirt, perfect. That is his Braun Strowman t-shirt.
There you go.
Yeah,
I got this. I got this when the shirt came out, so I was like, "Yay!"
Hey, that's how I am with a CM Punk shirt. So
yeah, exactly. And mine's in the wash. So
yeah, I felt left out.
Yeah. But yeah, so it's you have to pay attention to these things, and this is what we're urging Vince and whoever his staff is to pay attention to the internet fans. And not just the fans that come
listen to the
building.
people, or the people will leave you.
Yeah, because some fans can't afford tickets, but they are also bigger fans than the ones that are sitting in the arena as fillers. So think about that next time. All right. So thank you for mentioning that. I do agree. Mick Foley and Matt Hardy together on a collab with Shawn Michaels and everything else, I think that could rejuvenate Triple H. And like I said, I think that's what caused a lot of his heart issues. Although there is heart issues in his family, it's like a hereditary thing. He has to be really careful. But the stress of the job and what Vince was doing with NXT and how he kind of tore it down, I don't agree with that. So it could have caused a lot of stress for Triple H. All right.
Well, Triple H being my favorite of all time, wrestler of all time, I would love to see him take over because I would just mark out because of it. Yeah. So.
Yeah. But I would lose my crap.
Realistically, who knows?
Yeah, him and Stephanie in power. Can you imagine him and Stephanie at the head of the table?
Okay, Roman.
I was just gonna say.
I still want Rikishi to come back so he can be the tribal cheeks.
Yeah, the tribal cheeks.
Yeah, the tribal cheeks. That's all. I'll be about that.
Slap them cheeks.
That is amazing. I love that so much.
All right, so we're going to get to the talk about WrestleMania weekend, April 2nd, 12 noon, 11 a.m. Central Time, 5 p.m. UK time. Stand and Deliver NXT pay-per-view will be on before WrestleMania. Yeah. So it is a full weekend of wrestling. The matches set right now are Tommaso Ciampa versus...
No, you said his name wrong. It's Tomato Camper.
I'm sorry. Versus Tony D'Angelo.
That's
What?
Sorry.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. No, I just...
Go ahead.
Tomato Camper's my boy, man.
He is. I love him. Tomato Camper is my favorite, man.
We've got to mention this. This seems like this might be his retirement match.
I think so.
Because he had a very emotional promo last week.
Did you watch NXT this week, Jake?
I was like halfway through it. Yeah. We haven't actually finished it yet. So
if you didn't see the end of it, we won't spoil it for you. But Tommaso Ciampa did give a very heartfelt speech at the end.
Oh my gosh! Yeah.
All right, Imperium versus Creed Brothers versus MSK for the NXT Tag Team Championship.
Yep.
Carmelo Hayes puts up the North American Championship in a ladder match against 4 other people. The only one named so far is Santo Escobar, who has qualified
Oh yeah.
for that match. And we don't know who the other 3 entrants are, so we'll wait and see.
I still think it's so cool that I've been following Hayes since before he was in WWE. I remember I told you that story. I saw in a comment. I don't know if I doubt he knows this, but there's a comment that Hayes had like 3 years ago, and it was on an NXT post. He's like, "I'm going to be the next big thing in NXT," and here he is now. I followed him because I'm like, "All right, let's see it." And sure enough, there he is. I was
He
like one
pulled
of
a Babe
first,
Ruth.
I was like one of his first 100
He
followers.
called the shots and he did it.
Yeah, that's why that's why I'm happy for him. He said he was going to do it, and he did it.
Yeah, that's awesome. And he's amazing. If you haven't seen him in the ring, he does great things in the ring. He really does.
Oh yeah, no, I can't stop watching him in the ring.
Oh, yeah.
My grandmother crush on him.
Yeah. Mandy Rose versus Cora Jade for the NXT Women's Championship. And if you didn't see NXT this week, Cora Jade had almost gotten rid of Mandy Rose and her cohorts, but she failed. So now they're going to wrestle at Stand and Deliver. And
Cora Jade is my crush.
She is so cute. She's so little cute. And the last match, championship match, is Dolph Ziggler versus Braun Breaker.
Oh,
now, that is one match I am really going to watch because I love Dolph Ziggler. And Braun Breaker is Scott Steiner's son.
Rick Steiner.
I always get the 2 of them mixed up. Rick Steiner's son, Scott Steiner's nephew.
Yeah.
And he is a beast. So Dolph Ziggler is in for some fun.
Yeah.
So I can't wait to see that.
Bobby.
Yeah, whenever you mention that name, I always think of the thing from when him and Triple H wrestled, like arm wrestled.
Yeah.
And then just that smile, that that evil smile,
and he's just smiling at him, and then just like boom, breaks your boy's arm.
Yeah,
I'm glad he didn't break his arm.
No, that's Brock Lesnar's job.
Yeah, you already did that twice.
Yeah.
That's why I used to hate Brock Lesnar back in the day, because I love Triple H. I was like, dude, stop. I want to see my boy.
Yeah. Yeah, I want to see Triple H. Like, come on, don't break his arm again, and again, you know?
Hunter, stop doing this.
All right. Now, last but not least, WrestleMania 38 starts April 2nd at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It starts at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is usually a free hour. It'll probably be on WWE YouTube. You can watch it on the network and whatever else. But at 8 o'clock, it is a pay-per-view. You have to pay for it. So these are the matches that are scheduled for day one. What?
Y'all have to pay?
With your network, I don't gotta pay either, but I'm stuck with my peacock.
My peacock. All right, but as I digress, for day one, the scheduled matches are Becky Lynch versus Bianca Belair for the Raw Women's Championship. It'll be Charlotte Flair versus Ronda Rousey for the SmackDown Women's Championship. Steve Austin will appear on the KO show.
Oh, hell yeah.
Logan Paul and The Miz versus Rey Mysterio and Dominic. And Drew McIntyre versus Nappy Corbin.
Speaking of Nappy Corbin, I'm going to grab me some Steve Rises. I'm going to kick the can. The Texas Rattlesnake is going to take a nappy nap. And that's the bottom line.
Oh my gosh. Oh, and now you know why I love
And that's
Steve.
the bottom line, because Stone Cold said so.
My second favorite of all time. My third is CM Punk, because I'm my hometown is Chicago, so he's my third favorite. But yeah, Triple H and Stone Cold and CM Punk. That's
then
The
Undertaker.
That's my gimmick right there.
Yeah.
My gimmick is So old Bray Wyatt, probably back when he was a thing. Like the first Bray Wyatt, I'm talking like the cult leader Bray Wyatt with like the Wyatt family.
Oh,
I
hell
would
yeah,
say
the
the
Eater of
Demon.
Worlds.
The Demon, Finn Balor.
Oh yeah.
Taker, obviously Kane, and then probably my top would be
John Cena, because you can't see him.
I think he froze. He did too.
Oh, he did freeze.
I froze again, didn't I?
You look like
Yeah, I
Jungle
thought
Boy.
so. Yeah.
You look like Jungle Boy for a second.
Thanks, I think.
You're a tag champion, dude. Of course. You're good.
Yeah. So who was your top again?
But my top, it's gonna sound crazy, but my top was the Great Khali. I know he didn't have a lot of time in WWE, but I like big guys. He was huge.
Oh, the Texas Rattlesnake is gonna put some whooping on that big son of a. Oh hell yeah!
Can I get a hell yeah?
Oh hell
If you want me to stomp this guy's ass out, give me a hell yeah.
He's gonna chop me
And then
hell yeah! Dime, I call his neck, and I'm gonna hit him with a pile driver, and I'm gonna break his neck in half, and that's the bottom line because the Texas Rattlesnake, Stone Cold said so. Oh hell yeah!
All right. Well, if these guys will let me get to it, we'll talk about day 2.
Oh, Stone Cold apologizes.
Sorry.
Hell
yeah. Hell yeah.
You
Let's
do
talk
whatever
about it.
you want to end the show.
Yeah.
So day 2 will be Roman versus Brock for title versus title.
Yeah.
Queen Zelina versus Carmella.
Owen.
Queen Zelina and Carmella versus Naomi and Sasha versus Rhea and Liv for the women's tag team championships.
Well, they just added Natalia and Tamina to it.
Yeah, and versus Natalia and Tamina again.
Okay.
Tamina God.
All right. Then we have Johnny Knoxville versus Sami Zayn.
That's you.
Yes.
That's him.
Yeah.
That'll be sick.
You're going to Mania.
And then Edge versus AJ Styles. And Pat McAfee versus Austin Theory, which I'm guessing will be the free match at the beginning.
Nah, that better be the main event.
Yeah. No.
But that is it. That is all. That's all we've got for tonight. I hope you enjoyed this informative news show. We will be back in 2 weeks after the week after WrestleMania to let you guys know how things turned out and what other news may happen in the next couple of weeks. Thank you all for joining us. Steve, thank you again for being the most awesome co-host in the world, because the other most awesome co-host isn't here tonight. And thank you, Jake, from the bottom of my heart for joining us tonight. A very big wrestling fan.
Thank you.
And one of the youngest I've had on my channel. So there we go. So thank you again for being here. I do appreciate it. And we'll have you again another time.
No problem.
But guys, we will see you next time. Ciao. God bless. Stay happy, healthy, and safe. Bye.
Oh, yeah.